Hello there, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are. It is me, your favourite friendly furbolg, Addison, and we are back with the Pod of Many Things, Season 2, Episode 9. And today we're joined by one of my newer friends who I've grown quite close with over the course of a couple of weeks since we met through our good friend Ben, Nathan, also known as Sir Nade or Nade. And we're going to be talking about Nade's blossoming Twitch career, which seems to be going really well for him. I'm genuinely impressed. Like, I went back and watched some of your VODs in preparation for this, actually, because I'm that kind of guy. And it was pretty good. So, Nath, if you don't mind, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yep. So as Addison said, Nathan, go by Nade. I'll do a little bit spiel about my name originally, actually, because it's normally it's not a question I get asked, which is unfortunate because obviously the name Nade sounds like I've just chose it because it's cool, it's a grenade, blah blah blah. But that wasn't actually the origin of the name. So I'm gonna totally dox myself here, but it's fine. My name is Nathan Dew. Dew is the start of my surname. So the name came from first two letters of my first name. First two letters of my surname, bung them together. It's Nade. Awesome. That sounds cool. And it kind of stuck with that for a little while. So yeah, I sort of go by Nade. It's slowly starting to stick, which is nice. I am a recent. Well, yeah, I guess we'll go with it. I'm a recent graduate from Birmingham City University, where I studied video game development. Well, computer games technology, I guess, is the actual scientific term. And then 2 years on from that, I now teach on the same course, which is great. So they were foolish enough to hire me as a lecturer. I'm still hiding from. I still feel like I've got a bit of imposter syndrome, but yeah, it's good fun.
I do think that's kick-ass that you've managed to somehow impress enough to earn that place on the faculty. Well, that's an amazing feat. You shouldn't sell yourself short on that one.
Well, that's that key word, is somehow. I honestly, yeah, it's still a bit bizarre. It's really, I absolutely love my job though. Like, I just got a passion for video games and making them. So yeah, it was kind of like yeah, it's just a perfect fit. I think I sort of try and instill that passion in everybody else. Is kind of the aim.
Yeah, we do that. Like, pardon me, I also work in education, so you can tick that one off your bingo cards, guys. I know some of you have got them. And as an English teacher, I want people to be as passionate about reading and writing as I am. It's a bit harder with teenagers who haven't necessarily chosen to do that. So yeah, I can imagine that it's really cool to have that captive audience that want to do it. But I can imagine that there is also issues and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think even at university, I think because there's such a pressure on people nowadays that you have to go to university to get a degree if you want any sort of successful job. That we still get a lot of people at university level that I'll be honest, they shouldn't be there. Not from an academic level, but from where their own headspace is at. They shouldn't be at university. There's other paths that are available that should have been explained to them earlier on down their life. But at the end of the day, they've ended up at university and they sort of almost got a little bit of distaste in their mouth for it seems, because they're not enjoying it. So you still sort of get that sort of almost a battle of trying to instill passion in someone that it's, as you say, they haven't chosen. Whilst they have chosen to be there, they also at the same time felt like they didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
and also with the nature of games, it often tends to be a bit of a pick of I want to go to university, but I don't know what to do. What sounds cool? What looks fun? Oh, games. Yeah, we'll do that. But the reality of it is it's math and programming and lots of like things that typically aren't fun for people. It's a acquired taste.
They think they're going to get to do all the cool shit you see in the documentaries with like the storyboards and like the models straight away, but there's like a process before that.
I mean, the thing is, the better route for that is English, ironically.
Yeah,
but they don't make that connection, right? They're just English, math, science. They see as these boring subjects, but they are foundations for almost every career path now,
and that's why they're literally called core subjects. Like,
exactly.
So yeah. So you you at your time in Birmingham City, did you meet Ben? Were you in Ben's like thing? I
Oh,
never understand you two's like story because you went to the same course.
yeah.
You were on the same course. You went to the same university. Obviously, if you're on the same course, how does that happen? And how did you two reconnect recently? Or
Yeah,
like,
okay. So let me try and recollect a little bit. So while I was studying as a student, we didn't meet. I don't remember ever. He's probably going to be offended now because he might remember me. But that tends to be the nature of things, is that the higher years are obviously seen by the lower years, but then I think it's the nature of all education, right? I mean, I'm focusing on my work. Ben's probably. So I think when I was in third year, he was coming into first year. So we probably would have crossed paths, but I was probably doing other things and whatnot.
mm,
I then got a job at the university as something called a student success advisor, which is essentially a catch-all title for someone that's basically just in the faculty and will help with anything they can. They help students with work, with mental health issues, with financial issues. We're sort of like a signpost of, hey, you're lost, you're stuck, you're confused, you don't know what to do. Come to me and I'll just try and help you out as much as I can. That was really cool. I did that for about a year and a half, and that's when I met Ben. Was when I was doing that, because obviously being from the games course, I tended to help out the games course a little bit more. And I ran something on a Wednesday night called Game Night, where essentially every Wednesday around 4 o'clock we'd go to our games lab, which is all decked out with nice computers and consoles and stuff, and we'd just sit on the sofa and play games. And eventually Ben started coming along, which was awesome, because at that time Ben was a third year, and we didn't. The third years tend to be a little bit more wrapped up in their work and less community focused, we'll say, which is
yeah,
my big thing is community, and always has been. So it was really nice to have him come along as a third year, because end of the day, it's an important year, and we actually want people to be having a good time and not just stressing out about work. So it was awesome, and that's kind of where I met Ben. Then, I think what pulled him along was D&D. Actually, I can't remember which way it was around, whether he came to play games or came because of D&D, but he stuck around for one or the other either way. But yeah, I foolishly offered to run a campaign for anyone that was interested. Now, me,
oof,
yeah, yeah. So I was fairly new to D&D. I'd been I DM'd a single campaign, homebrew campaign, once before, around the same time actually. It probably like one. It probably just ended. Therefore, I wanted to do another one. That probably makes sense. So I was like, right, anyone, any year group that wants to come along and play, come along. And here's me thinking, D&D is not that popular. I'm not going to have many, right? I'm not going to have many. Lo and behold, I think about 13 people turned up, and and our associate dean of the university, well, of our faculty.
oh shit, really?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, okay then. Did not expect. I've got this awesome photo somewhere. If I ever get the chance, I'll try and show it you. And we're all just sat around this like massive table in the university, like it's a big like conference room that like the higher ups use, and we're all just sitting around this massive table. And I was just like, how on earth have I got myself into this? And yeah, we ran like two sessions, I think, like that. And I don't know how, but it went tremendously well. Like I get nothing but good feedback off it. It was really good fun. There was a lot of them that hadn't played D&D before, so I think they kind of appreciated that the spotlight wasn't on anybody, or it was on one or two people that had played before, which meant was able to be involved, have a character, be in the story, but no pressure to actually be involved. They could just follow along the party and not actually do it. So a lot of times they're just playing in their own head, right? Just
Yeah,
follow
yeah.
along with the party. It only takes one person to go, yeah, I'm going to go to the tavern. And in their head, they're going, yeah, I'm going to go as well. And as a DM, I just assumed everyone's following the same path. So it worked quite well. It was also the birth of my favorite D&D character I've ever seen. To this day, it's still my favorite. And Ben created someone called Ignalius. Can't remember his surname. It was Ignalius, and he was a dirt wizard.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ben was probably the most experienced RPG player at the table and on the course by far, surpassing everybody. So I think he came along for the memes. He was like,
He wanted to see how this train wreck was going to
yeah,
go.
yes, 100%. He was like, yeah, I'm totally gonna go on for the memes. I'm gonna make this really memeable character. He's like, 'cause me again. I was a very inexperienced DM, and I remember him asking in advance. He was like, "Oh, I want to do a wizard that does this, but I want to do this spell. Can we let it do this?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Basically, whatever he asked for, I gave him. I was like, "Look, it's a fucking 15 person session. Like anything on the table, anything you want to do, you can do it. Let's be honest, it doesn't matter."
I'm
So
not
we ended
keeping
up
track.
making,
Like,
yeah, like that was it basically. So he made a wizard where all the spells he picked were dirt focused, or we realigned them to to look dirt focused at least.
so like chill
And
touch became like mud touch or something.
yeah, stuff like that. I mean, he pretty much just used prestidigitation and mold earth to do everything. I think that was the conversation we had. He wanted to know how far he could take mold earth. He wanted to know if I'd let him make attack rolls using mold earth to be like to like shove dirt in people's like throats and things like that. I was like, yep, do it all. I don't care. It's fine. If we get to the point where a combat's lagging on, I'll just let you straight up kill someone using using mold earth. I'm not bothered. It was really good. Speaking of, he's just messaged me to play Valheim, which is nice. Which brings us on to the how we reconnected, which I think's a bit random actually. So I recently did a game jam. So a game jam is 48 hours where we basically we don't sleep. We just spend 48 hours and develop a video game. Sounds really fun. We do one every year, and this year I was honoured to be hosting Global Game Jam for Birmingham, online event obviously, but yeah. So we had a pretty big following. I think we had about an online turnout of about 60 people, and I was streaming it online for the weekend to try and give that community feel of, because normally we're all packed into like a games lab. All the machines are on. Everyone's working on games. It's really fun. You can just see what everyone's up to. But obviously we couldn't do that online. So I was like, well, if I stream, everyone can flock to the stream and just take the piss out of whatever I'm making and struggling to do. I'll be everyone's I will embody everyone's struggle. And then Ben popped up on that weekend and was just like, "Oh my, Nathan's streaming," but it was Flickering Torch, and I had no idea who it was. And I was just like in stranger danger mode. I was like, "Yeah, hi, Flickering Torch." Thought nothing of it. And then he came back the next day, and I was like, "Right, who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Ben." I was like, "Ben." And he put like his initial for his saying. I was like, "Oh my god, how you doing? Like we've been caught up for so long." And that was kind of it. Then he sort of stuck around for the entire weekend. And it was after that. It was during that weekend that I originally set up my actual stream. So for that one, I should have explained. I was actually streaming it on like a Twitch channel I'd set up for the university. So it wasn't for myself. But that
Yeah.
weekend, I was like, I did it and got a taste of it. And I was like, actually, I can do this. It's quite fun. I'll set one up for myself. And because I set one up for myself that weekend, Ben was then sort of like one of the first viewers on my actual channel, and then kind of stuck around. And then that led on to, hey, you should come and join us on my channel. We should play games together, so on. It's been sort of quite nice catching up. Oh, I missed out something actually. We did catch up once before. So it was after Ben had graduated and he got a job. We, being the only other person we knew that played tabletop RPGs, we invited him back to play Gloomhaven with us. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I have heard of it. I've heard of it, but I couldn't tell you what it is. Like I've heard Gloomhaven, the title. Basically.
Yeah, so it's like the most complicated RPG board game I've ever experienced in my life. It was honest. It's got a big fan base and a big following, so I don't want to trash it too much. But it was not for us. We honestly absolutely hated it. Like the level of detail and effort that's gone into it is amazing, absolutely amazing. But
I bet you it
just
looks
wasn't for
fucking
us.
nice as well. I bet you it looks like.
Honestly, the box is like the size of a PC, probably bigger, like a big chunky PC. It's huge. It's super heavy. Like sometimes we needed two of us to carry it any like long distances. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. Super expensive as well. But yeah, it wasn't for us. But that we did catch up for that one time where he'd come back to the uni like once a month maybe to play with us. But once we were sitting playing that one day and we just went, oh sorry, we realized we were playing it wrong. I was reading the rules. I was reading the. So we're about a month into this game. I'm reading the rules. I'm like, this isn't fun, guys. Like, I'm not having any fun whatsoever. We're doing something wrong. I was reading the rules. I was like, yeah, we're doing this all wrong. At which point, the person that bought the game just begins to put the pieces back in the box and was like, "I'm done. I'm done with it." Like, I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm done." Obviously, this other friend of ours had bought the game, so we didn't want to be the ones to say, "I don't want to play this anymore," even though you spent like, I'm sure the game's in its hundreds, like 200 or
Yeah,
something pounds. So
probably if it's got like minis and stuff, it's gonna be.
yeah. So we didn't want to be the ones to say, "Oh, by the way, we don't want to play this anymore. It's terrible." So it was kind of a bit of relief when he was like, "No, I'm done with it. I don't want to play this anymore."
You were like,
Yeah.
whew!
So yeah, so it's a bit of a roller coaster, but yeah, we sort of touched base now and again. Me and Ben did. We were never like super close. This is probably the closest we've ever been, actually.
Mm,
Which is quite nice. Yeah, we're never like super close. We're always just sort of slightly different circles of friends or groups that just touch now and again. But now
mm.
it's sort of like, yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite nice.
That makes sense. So Ben, if you're listening, which I know you are, you little shit, right? That's that's all the publication you get out of me this episode, because we're going to look at the meat, not the meat and potatoes, because that's more your Twitch stuff that I really want to talk to you about. Because I've always been oddly fascinated, like almost in a macabre way, with Twitch, like
Yeah.
'cause, like just the way it works and the controversy and everything is a madness. So to see to talk to somebody about that, but obviously we're a tabletop RPG podcast, so it'd be remiss of us if we didn't talk about like your start in tabletop RPGs and stuff. So how did you
100%.
like get into like tabletop RPGs, like first off, like first time ever? Was it that
I've got
big
I mean,
campaign?
so I'm sure everyone's got an interesting start into RPGs, right? I'm sure absolutely everyone says, "Oh, I've got an interesting start." Actually, I really have got an interesting start, and it's that I'd never actually, obviously I'd heard of D&D, but I'd never looked into it at all. I couldn't have even told you a rule. I couldn't have told you a character. Nothing. And all of a sudden, one of my close friends who had got like another group of friends that I wasn't in touch with came up
Mm,
to me and he said, "Oh, hey, I've been talking to X, Y, and Z, and they, as far as I'm aware, they didn't know me either. So I've been talking to X, Y, and Z, and they wanted me to ask you if you'd run a D&D campaign for us." And I was like, "Oh, what?" So like, yeah, they seem to think you'd make a really good dungeon master, and I was like,
What, and they just
yeah,
weren't your mates? You'd never hung out with them, like,
yep,
but they
yep,
just knew somehow.
yep,
Weird.
yep.
That's
They
fucking
were,
weird.
yeah. The only guy that knew both of us was this guy in the middle, which is
Yeah.
actually it's D&D Prophet,
Oh yeah,
another
totally.
another
Yeah.
streamer. So he had another group of friends, and he also had me, and was like, yeah. So this group of friends that I've got have said that you'd make a really good dungeon master. Now I can only assume they must have met me at some point, like to obviously take a stab in the dark and say, oh yeah, that guy that we only know the name of is probably would probably be good. So they must have met me at some point, I'm sure.
Mm.
It probably makes you sound really rude, but yeah, that's sort of that's the crux of it. But yeah, so I was like, and I'm the kind of person that will always try anything. I'll dive into absolutely anything. So I was like, you know what? Sure. A, it's a chance to make new friends. B, I'm an absolute nerd, and I probably should have played D&D up until this point anyway. And yeah, like it sounds fun. It's something new. Let's give it a go. So I then delved into, so being an academic, I was like research. I then spent so long learning everything D&D I could. I was consuming it. I then found out about Critical Role, and then almost destroyed my final like months of my degree.
Trying to catch up. Yeah.
Watching Critical, honestly, it was dreadful. So I joined Critical Role during campaign 2. There were maybe about 10 weeks in, maybe a little bit more, possibly. But yeah, I remember I started around just the end of my degree, so and I just about managed to not get too engulfed to fail, luckily.
Yeah.
But as soon as that final deadline was done, dissertation was handed in, I remember staying in bed for about 2 weeks, and I
Whoa.
was like, yeah,
That's
and
emotion.
yeah. I remember I would wake up, laptop, iPad, sit up, Critical Role on one of them, and I was like, either writing or reading D&D on like the laptop, and it was a good week or two of just like in my room, and it was bliss, absolute bliss. From like to go from like a hardcore month of working hard to to finish my degree, to just D&D was really really nice actually. At the time when I finished the 2 weeks, I was like, oh, what a waste of 2 weeks I've just had. When I look back, I'd kill for that again.
Yeah.
It was really, really nice. But yeah, so that was like what got me into it. We then ran the campaign, and obviously from that point, I hadn't played, I hadn't DM'd. My only games I'd watched were Critical Role, and I'd try and pick up other people's games because I'd watching YouTube videos, and YouTube videos would say try and see as many DMs as you can to get as many ideas as you can to get your own style. So I was trying to do that, but realistically, Critical Role was awesome. So I was just watching that. So in my head, I was like, right then, I'm gonna go play a D&D. I didn't know that pre-written things were a thing. I thought D&D was only homebrew to begin with. So I was like, yep. So I was like, right, I need to now create my own world. I need to create a campaign. I need to do, and I did it all. Like I just sat there and wrote this entire thing was called Albertasia, and it was this little island that existed, and it had been shut off from the rest of the world due to an evil power that existed, on the island. I wanted to do a whole timey-wimey thing, and it was like trapped in time, but it was a little bit difficult to do under the rules of D&D, so I didn't. But yeah, and we ran that campaign, and I think we ran it for about a year. Yeah, and it was good. They gave good feedback. I mean, it obviously got D&D Profit into D&D. That was also his first bit of D&Ding, yeah, dungeon diving, I guess. Yeah, so it worked, and it was fun.
No, it must have been
But
fun if you managed to convince people, one, without even playing with them, that you were a good DM, and
Yeah.
two, that you managed to get all these people into it on your first go. That's sick.
I mean, it's just storytelling, right? And that's what I loved about it. It was just interactive storytelling. I think my game development background helped. It
Yeah,
was just, for me, it was just like world building, which is almost so. It's what every game developer wants to do, right? Almost
yeah,
almost everyone that gets into game development, no matter what angle they're coming in at it from, whether they're a programmer or a story writer or an artist, they want to go. They're thinking, I've got this great idea for a video game, and I'm going to go into the game industry and make my amazing video game, which is like 1% of people actually manage to do that.
yeah,
You normally end up working on somebody else's game. You normally work. You're working for that 1%.
yeah.
So D&D was that chance to be like, I'm going to make the world that I want to make and share it with people. It was really fun.
Yeah, I have a creative writing background. That's what my degree's in. And I was like, I'm going to be a novelist. And then I looked at like publishing because I was like, yeah, novels are novelist is a job that is hard to get. Poet, maybe nobody makes money from poetry. So I'll be in publishing, or I'll be that guy who reads books to make them get turned into movies. And then I was just like, those are too hard as well. Like teaching is, those are like cream of like not even cream of the crop jobs. They're just jobs that you have to like. Publishing wants you to do too much for nothing, like pay internships that are not paid, like rife in the publishing industry. And that job, I didn't realize at the time, was actually like a high level, like almost like board member job, like executive producer job at movie studio. So I was like, guess I'll teach them. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with your point that when you're in a creative field like game design or creative writing or something like that, and you have these ideas in your head, you do want to share them with people. And I do think that does help with D&D, and D&D allows that. Because I also, funnily enough, my homebrew world was also like this little island that was called Ramph, the Isle of Ramph, and it also had like a problem with it in the fact that for some reason on Ramph, nobody quite knows why, but 4 months every 4 years are like completely nighttime. It's like 28 days of night for 4 months for a season, and like things just go wrong. Like elementals come out from the elemental plane. Obviously, you got vampires and stuff, and they all live here because of the fact they're like, well, this happens. Like dark elves will drow come out from the underground and like, oh no, we can claim the land now. We'll take this. Like you keep us hidden down in the underground, we'll have it back now. So it's pretty. That was pretty cool. So yeah, do you think, actually a bit off tangent, but I always think that a lot of people build their first homebrew world as like a little island. They never go like continental United States or continental Europe. They always go, no, I'm going to make this tiny fucking island that has some massive problem.
No, so I think that comes from pre-experience. So you've said that you come from a creative writing background, therefore you already have an idea of scope. And I
Yeah.
think that's what that's. And I was the same with game development. I understand you have to understand scope like massively because otherwise your project's going to run on for a million years. But I've
Mm,
also seen the other side of it. People that aren't from creative backgrounds but want to DM, and
mm,
they go and as you say, they go and try and create this massive planet of a world with continents and empires and kingdoms and wars and politics, and it's like it's not easy. Like
no.
you're talking about writing the Lord of the Rings, basically. Like
Yeah.
it's not easy to do. Yeah, it's impossible almost. I'm actually going the other way with it now, so I'm actually sizing down even more. So I'm about to start writing. I've got like notes ready for like a next world that I want to make, and I'm going smaller than an island. I want to do a whole campaign based in a single city
Yeah.
because what I'm kind of sick of I love cities in fantasy. I think that's my favorite bit. I'm not a fan of like the woods and the rolling hills and the snow mountains and stuff like that. I like the cities and all the characters that can exist in it.
Mm,
However, whenever I either play a campaign or DM a campaign, the city always seems to be a stop off point, and then okay, we're gonna go back out into the wild now to fight some things.
yeah.
Whereas I think it's more exciting in the city. You can tell far more stories. So I'm actually stealing an idea from another RPG, which is Band of Blades, which
Yeah.
starts off in a city surrounded by undead, and that's what I want to do. I want to be like, it's dark, gritty. You're in an absolute shitty town, big walls, big gates, and if you look over the wall, you just see hordes of undead. There will be ways to get in and out, tunnels, things like that. But when you're out there, it's scary and you will die.
It's a bit like
Um,
Attack on Titan, the anime. Like
Yeah,
the idea of,
a
like,
little bit, yeah.
if you go outside the wall, you're pretty much fucked unless you are
Yeah,
skilled. Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
like that.
exactly that, exactly that. And then inside, obviously, you've got do-gooders, you've got bad guys, you've got people that are just trying to survive. You've got other ones that don't want to just survive; they want to, climb the ladder. Maybe there's militia that think they can rule the town better and fight back the hordes.
Yeah.
There's so many stories you can just run inside a small city, and I'd actually encourage new players to do that. and
Yeah.
and just the more compact you can keep it, the better.
I always think of when I think of like cityscapes, I always think of King's Landing from Game of Thrones, and there's a bit where spoilers for Game of Thrones, by the way, but it's been out for a while now, and it all ended shit. So you know, um, um, when is it Brom? Brom becomes like the head of the City Watch in King's
Yeah,
Landing, and they're about to get siege done, and then Tyrion goes up to him. He's like, "Thievery in the city's gone down by like 70%. What did you do?" And he's like, "Well, I arrested all the thieves." And he's like, "What, with due process?" And he's like, "Of course, fucking not." Like that's the first thing that happens when people start getting siege. People start stealing from each other. So you round up all the known thieves and you throw them in prison until it's over, and then you just see kind of Tyrion kind of like give this defeated like, okay, like he can't argue with the logic of it because it's so simple. So I think because that's one of the things you guest starred on Blades in the Dark
yeah,
on Ben's channel. Fuck, I mentioned him again, and he I think that was one of the really cool things about Blades in the Dark was the atmosphere and the setting of this city that is just perpetually grey, perpetually like crime ridden because of how shit it is, and that these ghost walls and ghosts just walk about when they don't just walk about. There's loads of mechanics to stop them from walking about, but they can, and it is really interesting. So I think that's a really interesting point that you make about
I mean, it's a fine example there of how much of a story you can get out of just one city. Blades in the Dark. If you, I mean, I've only given it a brief read myself, just ready to come on for that one episode, and it is just full of lore and stories and characters, and like it's just so rich, they can do that because it's so small. And
yeah.
even in your head, if you want to start as a DM and your dream is to make a big world,
Mhm.
start with the city. And so I don't know if anyone knows this, but in like medieval fantasy, the internet doesn't exist. Therefore, news doesn't travel that fast. So the odds are everyone that lives in your town doesn't know what's over the horizon. Like 80% of them haven't traveled out of the city
Yeah.
anyway. Therefore,
But
your players don't need to know anything. You don't need to have it planned. You just need to have it planned to the next horizon, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's Even have the players discover the stuff as they go along. Like I actually tried that in a campaign once. I had them make the map. That was probably one of my favorite one of my favorite things I ever did. I was like, they were like, "Oh, is there a map?" And I was like, "Well, of course, there's not a fucking map. What do you think this is? A game? Like this isn't Skyrim. You can't press M and bring up the map. You want a map? Make it. Like that's it." And they did that. I then made like a whole like in the city. I made like a cartographers guild, and they could go back regularly to the cartographers and be like, "Oh, hey, we've just mapped this bit more of the land." And the cartographers are like, "Oh, awesome! We'll buy that information off you. Here's 60 gold for your work. Thanks." And like realistically, that was just to mask the lack of planning I'd done. I was like, "Well, I'm not going to sit there and make a whole fucking world for you not to visit. Wherever you go, I'll make stuff for, and you can map it yourselves."
That's a cool idea. I might try that. I might steal that off you. That's a nugget of wisdom there, because I know there are some games where that's actually a mechanic. Like, I don't know if Forbidden Lands kind of has that kind of like you're making the map as you go along because nobody's ever. It's almost like what's it called when you pioneering, like. So so before we move on to your Twitch career, we've talked a bit about like you as a DM and stuff like that, and you've said about how you create worlds and like your creative background and stuff. And we've talked a little bit out off stream that you prefer to be a DM than a player. Like, however, like I from playing in that Blades in the Dark game with you, I thought that you were actually a fantastic player. Like you brought a character that was interesting to the area, like to our band that was different from us and interesting. How would you describe yourself as a player? I know you prefer to DM, but when you are in the player seat, how do you describe yourself? Because I'm a forever DM. I need to take a break from DMing once my campaign's over, because I think my DM process is kind of slowing down. Like I'm reusing old tools and stuff and tropes. So I need to see other people do it in order to get like re-inspired and stuff like that. So how would you describe yourself as a player?
A lot of people, I think that a lot of people don't know about me is that before even discovering computers, I wanted to be in theatre, and that was my main goal until. I mean, I even did theatre studies at A level. Like that's what we're talking up from. I also took computer studies at A level, which is where I discovered programming and how much I loved it. So I prefer the theatrics of being a player, and just. I mean, if anyone wants to go and watch that Blades of the Dark episode, I get into a character and that's it. I'm that character. Like, that's it. Like, I love it. You lose yourself. The reason why I loved it so much in Blades of the Dark in being a player because I could focus more on the acting and the role playing as opposed to the stats. Whereas D&D being a player, it's 98% stats, and you can tweak in a little bit of role playing. And I find that often the role playing is then hindered by the stats. So in your mind as a character, you're like, "Oh, well, my character would do this," and you're like, "Oh, well, actually, you haven't got that ability. You don't get it until level 10. Sorry." You're like, "Oh, well, my character's gonna try and do it, I guess." Like, yeah. So I think Blades of the Dark was a bit of a breath of fresh air for me in that sense. Is just turn up, be this character. You do what you want, and you'll roll some d6s to find out if you can do it. Awesome, sounds good. So yeah, I think that's I'll explain myself. I like the role play element to it more than the gameplay element, which is the opposite. What I'd expect in myself, being an avid game developer and gamer. I'm normally all about systems and and math and statistics and stuff like that.
Do you think it's because you're using this as an escape, like maybe separate that? So like I maybe at some points I'm a bit more bombastic and theatrical because of the fact that in my job as a teacher there's like an image like that, and I have to like maintain that professionalism. So I will make characters, as my wife describes them, that are just fucking obnoxious and really annoying because I don't get to do that. Like I don't get to be like and make funny voices. So do you think it's that the reason why you're more theatrical is not just that love of theatre, but my job is dealing with maths and like programming all the time? If I'm going to do fun, I'm going to do something that's a bit more far removed.
Yeah, definitely. I like to do stuff that's mindless. I think is probably a good way to put it. Like for example,
games, man.
For example, I couldn't imagine myself trying to play an intelligent character like a really intelligent wizard that's leading the party and solving all the puzzles and so. I don't want to do that. Like, so the campaign I'm in at the moment, like whenever there's an ability, a time to step up. So I feel like this is sort of entering interview territory now. I feel like I've always been sort of like this natural born leader of, trying to always, be at the front of the group and help people and lead people. It's why I'm in education, right? It's to help people.
Mhm.
Whereas in D&D, I'm the opposite. I want to sit at the back of the party and do as little as possible, and just put in like just be like the clown,
Yeah.
or just sort of along them lines instead. I like to just be a little bit mindless and
Yeah, that makes sense. I
be
respect
a
it.
bit stupid. I think.
I respect that. I respect that. Like that makes sense, and
I mean,
that
I think it comes back to what you said about being in education, actually, and I think you probably know this yourself. As a teacher, you're always expected to know the answer.
yeah.
If you're asked a question and you don't know the answer, it's, oh, well, are you even good enough to be a teacher if you don't know this really obscure thing I've just asked you? What the hell? Whereas
Or
D and
this
D is
thing
just
that
like,
I've asked you on the spot that you've not had the chance to prepare for yet.
exactly. And I think D&D, there's no pressure of that. It's just, even if I do know it, I can sit there and go, I just don't want to explain. My character doesn't know that. Simple.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is a
Leave me
cool.
alone.
Like I play a lot of fake leader characters who think they're the leader. Although I did at one point, so I played a warlock who had lost his voice. Like he was an artist, and this hag had stolen his words. So he didn't even think in words. He had to think in pictures,
Cool.
because this hag had stolen all his words, and he'd made a warlock pact with a fey creature that was stuck in the form of a cat, like this archfey that was stuck in the form of a cat. So he had this cat with him that was his patron, and he did all the talking, and he thought he was the leader and everything. And I make a lot of fake leaders, like people who
That's
think
cool.
they're in charge but aren't. Like,
Yeah.
so I quite like that. So because of the fact that obviously in my classroom I'm expected to have control and be serious and be like professional and everything, but I just and then in the D&D party sometimes I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to annoy everybody else in the room, and that's fine.
So you stumbled on something else, actually. So the recent campaign I'm doing at the moment, I'm with D&D Profit, is also with three of my students, which is interesting. I get on with them really. It's university level, so it's a bit different, right? It's less. You can be a little bit a little bit less professional. But funny you mention that, because a little bit of that leaks out is because every now and again I would automatically want to step in and lead and be the authoritative figure, and I know, and I caught myself doing that a few times. So I don't want to. So what we started doing instead was I would do it on purpose for that exact reason of pretending to lead. So a little bit that I do regularly is, so one of my students is playing a fire ganassi called Ignite, and they're sort of taking the leadership role. They got high intelligence, so they'll come up with great ideas, and then my character go, "No, I've got a great idea," and then we'll just recite the idea that they've just come up with, and then that person being playing along as
that on the stream.
they then go, yeah, that's a fucking great idea, I guess, you prick. And it's just really, really funny.
No, that is funny.
It kind of worked. I think the first time I did it, they went along with it because we it was early on in the game, and we still sort of had that student lecturer mentality of, oh, Nathan said it was his idea, I'm just going to play along because his. But now it's a gag that we do, and it's quite nice.
Yeah, no, that's cool, and I think in jokes like that are important at tables, because if you don't have them, it's almost like, I know it's artificial because it's not real, but it's even more like a veneer and artificial if there's no banter at a table. This is one of the reasons why like Adventurers League has never ever really appealed to me as a concept, because of the fact that I don't want to sit around a table with a bunch of people who are just there to farm stats, and I'm there like cracking jokes, and no one's, or not even cracking jokes, or making puns and shit that are bad, and no one's even face palming at me. They're all there like super serious, like this is my Adventurers League. You're taking too long.
Yeah, it reminds me of when you play like competitive video games for your first time. You go on and play. Oh yeah, video games are fun. I'm going to play this game for fun. And then like the people you play with who are good at the game, they go, "What are you doing? Why have you picked that class? Oh, it looks fun." no. This class is better, and it could do this much damage, and you want this weapon, you want that weapon. You're like, no, I'm not trying to min max. I'm trying to have fun.
Yeah.
And some people just don't get that. Like everyone gets something different out of a game, I guess.
Yeah. So you stream a game on Twitch, and you've recently, like you said, created your own Twitch channel after getting the bug from streaming for the on behalf of the university that you work for. So what was that process like? That thought process like? Was it literally just like, no, that was all right? That are you one of those people who just did it on an impulse, or was there lots of like weighing up and stuff like that?
So there was a little bit of weighing up. So I've always wanted to be into YouTube. Always loved the idea. From YouTube's inception almost. I was one of these, and I've always get annoyed at myself when I talk about this because whenever a new YouTube star would come along, in my head I'd go, "Oh well, there we go. It's now too late to join YouTube. It's been done now. Yeah, I mean, it's been done." So first, like in my head, it was Ali A came around. It was like, "Oh, right, Ali A is massive on YouTube now. That's it. There's no point in me starting YouTube because it's been done." Then Syndicate came along and did a whole brand. It was like, "Oh, okay, right, this guy's stepped it up a level. It's too late now. I wish I'd got into it then." Then PewDiePie comes along. It's like, "Oh, this guy stepped it up another level. Oh, I wish I'd joined back when I thought it was over." And that's kept going and kept going and kept going. But that was when I had the mentality of I want to be a millionaire on YouTube, whereas I'm older now and I've got more realistic views of I just want to go on Twitch and just play some games, and if I can make someone laugh, I will. And that's kind of it. So that's where my mentality's at with it really. I sort of did. So I have been warming up to streaming itself. So I helped D&D Prophet set up his stream. But I think we've been streaming about 8 months now. Because at the time, I'd recently started my lecturing position at the university, and I was like, right, full-time job, haven't got time to stream, but it's something I'm interested in. I'm interested in graphic design and animation and stuff like that. So I was like, right, Prophet, I'll help you set up your stream. I'll help you as much as I can, make you emotes, make you layouts, stuff like that. It was like awesome. And then it got to a point where I was like, so he doesn't ask for anything. To be fair, like we're really good friends. He's never said, "Oh, can you do this for my stream?" I'm constantly like throwing myself at him because I enjoy doing it. So after a while, I was like, I'm doing loads of this stuff for his stream. Like the time I'm putting in, I could probably stream myself actually. Although I thought I didn't have the time, I probably can. So that was the first trigger. Then the second one was when I did actually stream to the university. I was like, okay, now that I've done it, I enjoy it. What's also helped is the lockdown. So all of our classes moved online, which means I'm streaming every single day, but to a class of students.
Yeah.
It's the same principle. But instead of playing video games, I'm talking about game development instead. But that helped my confidence massively, and it was actually a nice little cycle because that gave me the boost to want to stream on Twitch. But then streaming on Twitch just took me a step further in my classes as well. So in a nice little circle, it's helped my job because I now sort of this you do sort of get like a bit of a personality when you go on stream. Like I'm a little bit louder, I'm a little bit higher energy, and that's starting to leak into my lessons now as well. So I'll start my lessons with like a bit of that sort of character to try and build people up a little bit. That was kind of the build up to me starting to stream. It was a number of things, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Like we started, well, there were 3 of us at the beginning. Now it's just me. Maybe I'm the problem. We're at the beginning of the lockdown. There was 3 of us that started the Pod of Many Things, and we had tons of ideas. We had my friend Troy, who was like actually a music producer. Like he's great at mixing sound and sound engineering. My friend Leon, who was a bit of an ideas guy. Me, who could like write like scripts and stuff and research. So I was kind of like the journalist. Leon was like the host, and then Troy was like the
audio.
The audio, like so we said that Troy was like the artificer, I was the wizard, and Leon was our bard, and like that kind of made our roles. And then Troy unfortunately had to leave because of the fact that he was busy, and Leon got busy because he got promotion at work as well. So, but I really like doing this because I meet lots of people. I've got to talk to some amazing people like through it. So that's one of the reasons why I do it. Like I kind of care about subscribers in terms of the fact that Ben has like surpassed me, and I started before him. But that's about it. Like it's just like friendly banter.
But it's less of so people from outside the I'm going to call it the industry, but it's not an industry, right? It's podcasts and YouTube and Twitch and whatever you call it, online presence, let's call it. People from outside it think that the people doing it want subscribers because it's a job, you know. More subscribers means more money, means it's a more successful job. But it's not that. It's we're putting our passion into things, and the only measurement you've got is that number. That's it. More subscribers means more people are enjoying what you're doing and appreciative of it, and it's an ego boost. Like, let's be honest, like you're putting your work out on the line, same as same as an artist would. An artist would also ask for people to give their art a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or something like that. And it's the same sort of thing. It's an art, and that number of subscribers is although it's not true. Like we plug in Ben again. Ben's YouTube channel is a great example of this. He's just hit 100 and I think 113 subscribers.
113, yeah.
And like his content is amazing, absolutely amazing. If I didn't look at the subscriber number, I think he should be a YouTuber with thousands, hundreds of thousands. I think that number isn't a representation of actual how good your content is, but as the content creator, that's all you've got is that number.
That's your feedback, and that's your applause, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's your applause.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
definitely.
We recently applauded you because you hit affiliate on Twitch.
Yeah.
Fucking segue, by the way. I hope people noticed that. That was a fucking segue. But yeah, you recently hit affiliate on Twitch. I've never understood what that meant. Like this isn't me like playing it up for the podcast, so you'll tell me and rah, rah, rah. This is me genuinely being like, what? Like I thought you were just on Twitch. There wasn't like tiers and so what does affiliate?
I thought this too. So I've also learned as I've gone along. It was through helping out my friend that I learned all these things because he would tell me. So essentially, when you first start on Twitch. You have a sort of like a basic Twitch account where people can follow, and that's it. You stream, people follow. When you hit, in fact, I'll pull it up real quick. But essentially, when you hit a number of achievements, they're called on Twitch. They're trying to gamify it all.
Mm-hmm.
You can then apply for affiliate, and what that is you need to reach 50 followers, which is normally the biggest task of anyone is to reach the followers.
Yeah,
and you need to within a 30-day period. That doesn't mean from the 1st to the 30th. That's like a shifting scale. So it's within.
You have to get 50 followers in 30 days, basically.
No, so that's the only one that's out of the 30 days. But the next three I'm about to say are within a 30-day scale, or an average of 30 days. Probably a better way of saying it. So you need to stream for 8 hours within an average of 30 days. Stream on 7 different days. And have an average of 3 viewers, which the 2 difficult ones there are the 50 followers, because you need to convince people to actually follow, which for some reason is the hardest thing in the world, even though it's just clicking a button and doesn't cost anyone anything. But yeah, and then surprisingly, the average of 3 viewers is fairly tricky.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Because when you're a small streamer, people don't tend to stick around when there's not much going on, and the main pull of Twitch is watching with other people in a chat, and you all talking about the thing you're watching. So if you're the only viewer in a channel, and I'm sitting there playing Rocket League, and I've got one person watching me, they're not going to watch for very long, because that's like you watching a bird fly around for a little bit, and you're like, okay, this bird's cool, and I've got no one to tell about it, so I guess I'll just take a picture and move along. I guess it's cool. Let's go. So yeah, Twitch has this like snowball effect, I think, where I don't know if it's a good system or a bad system, but it snowballs as more viewers pile in.
Yeah.
So that starting block is very, very difficult, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, oddly enough, so I'll come back to why I didn't struggle with those things. Although from other streamers, that's what I've seen the struggle being. My hardest one was actually streaming on 7 different days. So the reason why I've been, so I'm not disillusioned with my quote unquote success or whatnot, because it's actually a little bit false, for the following reason. So essentially, a lot of my students came to watch me from the get go, and I remember watching. So there's a great YouTuber called Harris Haller who runs a channel called Alpha Gaming, and he basically covers everything Twitch and advice and stuff like that. I haven't watched a lot of his videos, but I remember watching one, and it said when you start streaming, your first couple of weeks will be friends and family. If you're lucky, you'll have a couple of weeks of friends and family. These aren't real viewers; they're supporters. They're not going to stick around and watch you. Like, if I invited my mum to come and watch me play D&D, she'll be nice and join for like a stream or two, but she's not into D&D, so she's not going to stick around and watch. She wouldn't expect her
Yeah.
to. So you need to capitalize on that platform to begin with. So a lot of my students came along. I had maybe about 7 of them that would join, which did great for my average viewership. And a lot of my students followed as well, which was great. I think I had about 20 followers that were students, which was awesome. Yeah, but then it kept ringing back in my head that what Alpha Gaming said about that platform, and basically I just took advantage of that, and so whenever a viewer would come in my head, they're the only viewer because the other viewers aren't going to stick around. They're my students, they're my family, they're my friends, they're my family. So I'd try and engage that single viewer with the rest of the chat, but try and almost pretend and make it feel like there's a community here when there isn't.
Yeah.
And then that kind of worked. I mean, he actually ended up with a lot of this, not all of them, but some of the students have now actually stuck around and genuinely enjoy the streams, which is great. Like, they actively say, like, yeah, this was good, this was bad, so on and so forth, which is awesome. Now, the reason why I struggled on the stream 7 different days is because I originally just wanted to do it as a hobby. I had no intention of getting affiliate or getting money or anything like that. It was not the plan at all. And I started doing one Monday every week. And I called it Make Mondays Great Again, with the plan to basically just cheer everyone up on a Monday. Mondays are terrible. Let's just try and lift some spirits on a Monday evening.
Yeah.
And people seem to like that. However, it also meant that I hit every single tick for affiliate except for the stream 7 days. So I got to the end of my 30-day period and was like, oh, I didn't look at these things. I only stream for 4 days a month. Great, awesome. This is fine. And then and yeah, so I was just like, right, I'm gonna chuck in a couple of Saturdays to hit that, and eventually we did it. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not different days, as in like you have to stream on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like just 7 days over 30.
Yeah. So it doesn't sound like a lot, right? 7 days in a month isn't a lot. But when in my head I'd only planned for just Mondays. I wanted to be a Monday streamer. I wanted that to be my gimmick. It wasn't possible. Basically,
And also as well, when you think about like adulting, like in general, like most of these streamers start when they're very young, like a lot younger, say about 16, 17, when they've not got that, and then they build that audience to the point where they have those adult responsibilities. But they've made so much money and stuff, and they've got such a following that they don't actually have to adult, if that makes sense. They're
true.
So with us, as like myself being like 28, and I think you said you were 26, 27?
27, yeah.
Yeah, like we're coming to that point now where we're like, oh shit, like nights are like, I want to go to bed when I get home. Like, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I'm no longer that kid who could play Halo for 24 hours without sleep.
100%. I'm still like it. So every Monday I say the same thing, right? So I do my Monday stream without fail, and then at the end of the stream I say, "Oh, cool. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm going to try and pick up some streams throughout the week. Hopefully, if you see me online, feel free to tune in. I'll try my best to stream, and I never do. For the rest of the week, every day is like you say, it's adulting, and I'm just tired. And sometimes, like streaming, you require some energy to do it. You need
to be a character.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be upbeat and just feeling it, and it is difficult when you've done a full-time job and you're tired at the end of the day and stuff like that. But I don't know. So there are other streamers that I've heard of, obviously, that have made that they come to a point where they have to make that choice.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name was at all. It's not a streamer I watch. I watched him on another channel, and he basically said that one day he just decided, I will be a Twitch streamer, and he quit his full-time job. He said, I saved up enough money to survive for about a year on a very, very low budget. And he made a decision. It was going to be a Twitch streamer, and that was it. He made it work. and now he's like he makes enough streaming to stream full time.
Yeah,
which isn't bad.
no,
So, yeah, I mean,
that's an
it's
amazing goal
admirable.
to have. That's an
Yeah.
amazing goal to have. Like people think that. So I know that like you shouldn't just make enough to survive. Like that. If people have like this really bad like thing of just surviving. But when you're doing like I feel as if you were doing something that you're passionate about and you love, and you can make enough to keep the lights on and stuff like that,
Yeah.
even though it's something that shouldn't be able to do that, I think that's a massive mark of success.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that people should celebrate that sort of thing, and that's why I think even though you're like, oh, it's not a big deal because you're trying to play it very humble. I appreciate that because like even my platform is very small. Like you're, I think you should celebrate that you despite everything you've managed to. Like,
so I don't celebrate, and I know it's not always a case of just being humble. I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit proud of myself, a smidge, but I'm more. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. Like whenever I stream and I see, so my most recent streams are getting about 25 people, which is great to see, and I'm more happy for the people joining in, mainly because I picture my student. I see my students joining in, and I know some of them are the type of students that wouldn't normally put themselves out there to chat to people and be part of a community,
yeah,
but they're doing that in my stream, and that's really, really nice to see. And
yeah,
I love the idea. I love the idea of bringing people together and making them talk to each other, especially in the time that we're in now, where it's just difficult to meet new people and to talk to new people. Like you can't just meet someone at the moment. Like it's not
no,
possible.
and also as well, like it must be good for you to see that as an educator because I'm as a head of year myself. Like I'm always looking for to create safe spaces for conversation.
Yeah,
So those conversations happen from those people who aren't out there and aren't like going out and meeting people. You get that feeling of like this must be a safe space then, because I had the same sort of thing when I first started the D&D club at our school. Like I had all the kids who weren't really like into sports or anything. Like there was like the sports kids, and then you've got the kids who are kind of nerds, and they want to talk to other people about being nerds, and that's why it was so cool because it was all year groups from 11 down to 7 talking to each other on an equal level about this thing that they were doing, and like they became friends. They would talk to each other outside of the club, which was an interesting premise.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So for you, is that how you feel as well when you see?
Yeah, 100%. I absolutely love. I love. So I look. Is important. Is an important thing here. I love building friendships and communities for and with people. The thing about streaming that's always put me off is I don't like running a community. There's a difference. So I actually do that as part of my job at the moment. So we have a course Discord that's got like hundreds of people in it. Obviously, the course is like 300, 400 people or something like that. And so as part of my job, I basically run that community, and it's a lot of work. And by streaming and trying to start, I tried my hardest to not make a new Discord server for my stream. I didn't want to. I was like, there's enough Discord servers around. I don't need one. I don't want one. But it got to the point where I was like you'll be chatting with someone on stream and they're like, oh, let me send you this meme, or let me show you this piece of artwork I've done. I'm like, yeah, you can send it to, I don't know. Yeah, I'll make a Discord. There you go. You pop it in the Discord. But I don't like the idea of running a Discord, and I don't know, like by doing it, I've got a newfound admiration for content creators and streamers that have a Discord and run a Discord and run a community, because it's like full time switched on.
Yeah, because you've got to be careful what other idiots are saying to other idiots, like about other idiots. It's like
exactly.
Because
you're seen as this like responsible overseer of everything. Which
Yeah.
means you also watch what you're saying as well, because
you've got to be fair in everything, because everybody's just going to turn on you. Well, you're
exactly.
abusing your power. Like no, like you're being a dick. Like you're being a dick. Stop. Like
definitely.
I run our gaming Discord with Ben.
Mhm.
Admittedly, I'd say Ben does more of the technical stuff, and he's like the bad cop, whereas I have to sit there and be like, no, like I'm like the.
So it's funny because you both play your roles down. So I actually chatted with Ben about this on Tuesday. I think I was like, oh, like because he mentioned the loom that you run. And I was like, don't you run that as well? He was like, I'm just like a mod. And I was like, okay then. And then you're also playing it down and going, well, actually, Ben does all this stuff. I just sort of be the good cop. It's quite funny to see both sides of it. So what I'm hearing is no one's running it.
Pretty much. No, yeah, and that only has like 100 people in it at most.
I was like, so when I first got invited into there, I was like, hell, like that's a community. That's big. Like that's a lot of people.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I do have to be careful. But you have like 300. Like, I can barely manage like 200 small people. Like, and managing them, especially at this moment when they're all in different places, like at home and stuff like that. Like, running 200 adults terrifies me. Like the idea of like there are 200 people here who have the potential to be smarter than me, whereas in like kids, you're kind of like, like 50 of them might be smarter than me at a push.
Yeah. Oh no! You see, so I embrace that now. I'm quite open about. I mean, I can play the angle of I'm a recent graduate, although it's still I'm like 2 years out and whatnot. I still sort of I'm quite, and I think there's an element of respect there. Is that I respect them in the essence of saying, look, there's probably a shit ton of stuff that you know that I don't. That's not the purpose of university. It isn't hey, let me teach you everything. It's let me show you potential. Let me show you tools. Let me show you skills, and then you run away with them. I'm doing a great module at the moment actually called Game Asset Pipeline with all my first years, and I love it because I'm not actively teaching anything strenuous. Like I'm not having to like research complicated things and whatnot. Every week, I just tune into the session. So it's 4 hours a week, 2 2-hour sessions on a Monday and Tuesday. I tune in and I go, right, today I'm going to show you Unity. It's a game engine. This is what you can do with it. I just live stream and just make something, and it's great. And I'm not trying to teach them how to use it. I'm just saying this is something that you can use. Now go and use it and go and find out more about it. And we just do that each week to just basically introduce something new. So it's kind of I never really have that worry of you probably know more than me, or you're going to ask me a question that's going to catch me off guard. I embrace it. I super embrace it and just go. I hope you know more than me. That means I'm doing something right. I'm not trying to teach you the things I know. I'm trying to teach you a way to learn more than I know, which is good.
You're a bit different to me because I will say that I do often, apart from with people like Ben and stuff like that, I do often think, and this is a flaw, and I realize it's probably like my Greek, like in Greek tragedies, everybody has like a fatal flaw, like they're too strong or they're too prideful or they don't think before they act. Mine is that I think I'm the smartest person in any room I walk into. It's like my one. It's not my one character flaw. But it's so when people challenge me, I do get a bit, especially adults, and when I think I'm in the right, and I go like full.
Oh yeah. No. I get that. 100%. So with students, I don't mind because I know that they're also in the same. They're in the same space as me, and it's very likely they would have stumbled across information I don't know about. What I hate is when someone outside of my field questions me and thinks they know more. It's like, hey, I've just put 10 years plus of my life into video game research and study. Like, don't sit there and tell me because you played The Witcher 3 on expert difficulty that you know how things work. It's not true. And like you got to think, obviously, because of how big the industry is. Like, it was so frustrating through the cyberpunk situation that went on. With
That
crunch
pissed
and
me off, so I can
bugs, and you're just seeing arguments on Twitter, and like there's like a 3-way argument going on, and you're all fucking wrong. So I don't know what you're all arguing for. Like, what yeah, it is frustrating. So I do get where you're coming from.
With that, like everybody's like CD Projekt Red are in the wrong, and I'm there like, no, motherfucker. Do you know who's in the wrong? Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, you are in the wrong here because you moaned when it got delayed, and you moaned when it got delayed, and you moaned when it got delayed, and they just went, all right then, like because you were threatening to pull out and all that jazz, and they were like, "Oh shit, we've just invested like it was coming up to like 6 years on the project." They'd invested a lot of time, especially for a AAA game nowadays, when they churn those fuckers out butter. Like they're like, yeah, here's another AAA title for you. Have at it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm also of an unpopular opinion when it comes to crunch. That's it's a big word being thrown around at the moment. It's crunch time in studios and workers' rights and stuff like that. And it's actually getting some weight now. And surprisingly, I'm at an awkward side of it. And it's when I first wanted to be a game developer, crunch excited me. That was like part of the job.
Mm,
Like, and I still do it now. Like, I love doing game jams because a game jam is 48 hours of crunch. It's just 48 hours of I've got 2 days to make a game. I need to put my entire life on hold for this thing. I absolutely love it, and I think a lot of game developers do as well. Like, you go into the industry. I mean, it's wrong to put it like that and say, well, it's that celebrity thing. Well, you know what you're signing up for. It can be dangerous territory, but I think a lot of game developers do expect crunch,
yeah,
and a lot of Twitter was fighting the fight for them, saying, "Oh yeah, it's terrible. CD Projekt Red making do all this crunch time, workers' rights, blah blah." I was like, yeah, but they're probably fucking like not all of them. Don't get me wrong. Imagine a lot of them have got families and want to be at home, sure, but a lot of them love it. Like it's their passion project. Of
mm,
course, they want to spend extra time there and get it done and get it polished and whatnot. But yeah, it's like you say, it's Twitter, fighting that fight for them, and in the most case, it's people that have that do like that are on an hourly rate, right? So they get paid like £10 an hour, for example. Whereas if you want to, if you do that, you don't understand the concept of a salary. In the case of you'll know more than me actually from a teacher's point of view. I guess we both sort of know. I get paid a salary. I get paid X amount of X amount of money a year. And in my contract, it sort of says, oh, yeah, you need to work 37 and a half hours a week or something.
yeah.
Bullshit do I work 37 and a half hours a week?
Oh yeah, fucking
It's
too
probably
right.
double. Yeah, it's probably
Like
double. And
teaching,
the salary reflects that, right? Like
yeah,
I'm not gonna sit there and pretend that oh yeah, if I'm gonna work it out as like, oh yeah, but it's 37 and a half hours a week, so it's like £13 an hour. That's not how it works at all. I might not work on a Monday afternoon, for example, but
mm,
I'll be working the whole of Saturday and Sunday. And I think games industry is like that a little bit as well. Like I know
yeah,
for programmers are paid handsomely. Like really, really handsomely.
yeah,
And
because
it's for
they're
that reason.
developing the engines and stuff like that.
Yeah,
The things that are
yeah,
going to run.
exactly.
Yeah,
And I think in a lot of cases that big pay packet takes into account crunch, and then they get bonuses on top of that for crunch as well.
mm,
So yeah, I think there's mixed opinions in the industry itself, where some developers love crunch because it's their project and they want it finished and they want it to be right. And then I imagine there's other workers in the industry that have the mindset of I've got a family at home and I'd rather be at home doing these things. And yeah, I think it's an individual basis, but the
yeah.
internet and Twitter as a whole has painted it as crunch is terrible and it's ruined the game and this, that, and the other. And it's like, ugh, I
Twitter
can't
will
be bothered
fight
with
over
that.
anything. Like, dude, we've had orcs are racist. A combat wheelchair was like both bad and good. Like, I don't know if you've seen that, but this person basically made a wheelchair for
What
D
are
and
the
D.
odds? Right, I watched a Critical Role show last night called like Critter Hug or something like that, where
Yeah,
they had her on the show, and that was the
yeah.
first time I'd heard of it. I was like, how cool is that?
It's fucking sick, right? And me and my friend talked about it before about like how people reacted to it, and I was quite like in support of it. Although I do think that sometimes you should have just. I do think that sometimes we try and make rules for things that shouldn't have it. So if you want to play like a disability, like it shouldn't be a question of like the rule
Yeah,
set. It should just be just fucking do it. Like we
yeah, yeah.
should have to have a rule for it.
I did,
Um,
I did think that at the time. I thought about like, I was like, if I wanted to play D&D and I wanted to be in a wheelchair, I just could be.
yeah,
Like, I can't imagine a DM being like, oh, the rest of the party goes up the stairs. Oh, you can't.
yeah,
Like, I don't see that happening.
no.
I just don't see it happening at
Exactly,
all.
and so, but like the shit she gets, so she put that out for free, by the way, for
Yeah.
free, and motherfuckers are like, they're like, yo, she's making loads of money, rah, 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 she's using all her newfound fame. One, she was already a freelance writer, so she's probably worked on shit that you could only dream of ever working on. And second of all, she's put this out for free. Stop moaning. Stop whinging. It's like YouTube and Twitch, like what you do. Like, you don't go out to stream expecting money. Like, you never expected that. Now that you've got affiliate and it's a possibility, you might make what, a little bit, but you're not out there like, pay me mega bucks, otherwise I won't stream, like some of these like female streamers have been doing, and some of these male streamers have been doing as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Twitter will fight over anything, mate. They will. The orcs are racist, like, and you're like, what? And they'll fight over anything, and they'll fight both sides of the argument as soon as one's more popular. Like, oh,
so I remember reading a scientific paper on something. It was to do with the news actually, and it was about how we're apparently hardwired to enjoy. Well, not to enjoy. We're hardwired to pay more attention to negative and potentially dangerous viewpoints and things like that because it threatens us. And apparently, it's like an animalistic, protective nature to focus on negatives because they're dangers to us.
yeah,
And that's how the news makes money. They only show
bombard you with bad
because our brains are addicted to it because we want to know the bad stuff to protect ourselves from it in some subconscious thing. Apparently, I don't know if it's true or not, but yeah.
Do you think that's why Twitch gets a bad rap actually? Because of the fact that one of the things that Twitch always seems to not be able to fucking do is stay out of like mainstream media and stuff, or someone throwing a cat over their head, or or like.
I feel sorry for her. I'm on a very unpopular opinion bench there with it's a streamer called Alinity.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, she did some stuff to probably clutch at fame a smidge, but it's another example of someone taking a little bit of a Twitch clip, throwing it well out of context and being like, "Oh my god, this person abuses her cat." Like, okay, she doesn't. It's a cat. I can almost 100% that cat owners are like chucking their cats off of sofas and being like, "Get off my sofa!" And you wake up and your cat's on your head and you fling your cat off your head. Like, it's a cat, right? I own a pug. I own a little fat pug, and I chuck him around like he's nothing as well. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. I'm sure a cat's fine.
Yeah, like
disclaimer: it's not animal abuse at all. Like, when I say I chuck a pug, it's like 30 centimeters. He's a pug, but still.
Yeah, I think it was the fact that she just yeeted it without even looking. It was and it seemed to travel far. But I get your point on that. Like, actually, no, because she put it out on a public forum, but it is behaviour that would be normal behind closed doors, if that makes sense.
Yes,
or somewhat acceptable. Let's put that in there. Somewhat acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me wrong. She was in the wrong. That's not what I'm saying at all. Like 100%. Like she's in the wrong. But yeah, just blown up. And that's it. Just blown up.
Yeah, because like you've
out of context.
Yeah. So yeah, like Twitch has loads of controversies that are actually feed into that like negative like feedback loop, where like
people love it. People would rather watch a Twitch fail. There's a reason why there's a thing called a Twitch fail, and not like a or YouTube fail.
LSF community on Reddit, the live stream fail community.
Yeah, exactly.
People love that shit. What, like, because you've got people like I'm not gonna lie. Maybe one of the reasons why I'm not big into Twitch is because I don't really watch any streamers. I used to when I was like younger and I was major into League of Legends. But actually, I was more into like just catching like highlight clips on YouTube. Like I was like, why would I sit here for 3 hours to watch like 20 minutes max of like balls to the wall play? Like, no, I'll just do that. So, what do you think is like? What can Twitch do, or what do you think is the weapon that Twitch can use to combat this like bad press and everything? Because like you're saying like your stance of make Mondays great again. Do you think that Twitch needs to like promote more like not wholesome, but you know what I mean, like positive streamers, or do you think that
think Twitch themselves just need to be a bit more transparent in their own opinions of the things. So whenever there is a bit of bad press, they're not very transparent on their opinion of the thing that happened. They have got a reputation of dealing with these things behind closed doors. A good example of that being, so I don't know if you've heard of this big streamer called Doctor Disrespect who got banned recently.
He's like the only person that I've actually taken a genuine interest in, because I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can sign somebody for like mega money, and then that just goes. I don't.
Prime example of it all just being almost. It seems like through such a public facing platform, right? Everyone that uses it is putting their actual faces on the front of the company in an outward way to the public. But Twitch themselves are such a secluded, closed door company that deal with everything off the table behind closed doors, and it's just sus as hell, honestly. So I've seen there's a Doctor Disrespect thing, the whole Alinity situation with the throwing the cat thing that got done behind closed doors, and there's some like weird. There's been loads of reports of some weird like friendship between Twitch and Alinity, which is why she's still on the platform or something like that. But no one knows no one knows the truth of things. So it's that negative conspiracy theory concept in people's heads that just start to sort of grow things out of control. The most recent one was the whole playing music on stream and DMCA strikes and things like that. And
oh shit! Yeah,
so that was another one, and it was like Twitch just came out one day and was like, "Oh, by the way, you probably noticed you've been DMCA striked." So it turns out all this time you shouldn't have been playing music on your stream. We did tell you it was in page 238 of your terms and conditions. You probably should have saw that. That's on you. If you get banned, that's on you. If you get a fine, that's on you. Bad times. And then they sort of like started to then do dealings behind closed doors and not be giving streamers enough information and advice and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just sketchy. It's really, really sketchy. And I think that's what Twitch needs to clean up on, is just being far more transparent to the streamers themselves. Because what in my brain, what it says is that when there's a controversy, when there's a bad thing that happens and it picks up traction, they're quiet about it because whilst they might disapprove of the action, it brings in so much publicity for the company.
Yeah.
So we don't want it to stop, but that was naughty. Don't do that again.
Yeah, you these controversial figures like I think the only other one I can think of is someone called XQC. Who's like basically well-renowned dickhead, but somehow like they love him because of the fact that he'll say something and or he'll do something that upsets a lot of people, and then they're like, "Oh, XQC, don't do it."
Definitely. But people flock to them. This is the thing. Like, there's so many like cool people on Twitch that. So I tend to watch streamers that have around like 50 to like 300 viewers. That's sort of, I found, a nice pocket to be in. And most of the people I watch are like wholesome people. Like they genuinely just give off really good vibes. Or I watch tons of musicians. Like during lockdowns, I absolutely love live music. My previous job was at a live music venue.
Sick. Like there's whole bands on there with setups that are insane.
Yeah, honestly, it's so good. It's almost a shame, right? Because I sit there and watch Twitch, and I see so one of my favorite streamers at one point was a guy called Tim the Tapman, who gets like 50k viewers at the moment, and he's gotten to the point now where he'll come on stream, put his webcam on, he's got thousands of dollars within minutes, and then makes jokes about the fact that he's just earned thousands of dollars by doing nothing, and it's like, that's a dick move. You know what I mean? Like that's like
the drama as well.
Yeah. Like that's like me turning on my stream on a Monday, going, "Hi everyone, let's make Mondays great again." I get 50 subs on it, and then I go, "Huh, I've only been on here for 10 minutes, and I've just earned more than you all have in a month. I'm rich now." And it's like, that's not cool, bro. So I see that happening, and at the same time, I'm watching like a small musician who's got like maybe 200 viewers, and they're like super talented, super nice people, but they're just not given the respect or stuff they deserve. So I mean, I guess it's life, right? I mean, let's be honest, life's not fair. So we can't expect Twitch to go, "Hey Twitch, make this fair." The wholesome people deserve to be more popular. At the end of the day, it's like you said originally, right? with the cyberpunk thing. It was Twitch. It was down. It was Twitch. It was Twitter. It was down to the people on Twitter, and Twitch
People
is the
vote with
same.
their feet.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Twitch is exactly the same. If the viewers are on someone's channel, they're on someone's channel. Like, maybe that's just the nature of the world. Maybe there's more dickheads than there are good people in the world.
yeah, that sucks. We
Yeah.
the downward spiral is starting. So where would you put yourself then? Because there's like communities on Twitch. We kind of talked about like live stream fails and stuff where people react to live stream fails. What and like you've got like Overwatch, League of Legends streamers. Like what's your stream about? What do you do on your stream?
Well, I can tell you what my stream is and what I want it to be because they're two different things. And I think this is
I was
common
going
for
to
most.
ask you that question.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Like,
I think this is common for most streamers. They have an idea of what they want to be doing, of what they would enjoy doing, and then what they find is actually successful and popular. So
yeah.
I do a game called Marbles on Stream, which is essentially the community. It's really good for building communities because it forces people to talk. Well, I say talk. The initial bit on Twitch is just typing something into the chat. Once you've broke that barrier, people will talk. And with Marbles on Stream, it's essentially it's a marble tracks like a marble run almost. And you have to join the stream. You have to type !play in the chat. So you've broke that barrier. You've made them type something, and they get a little ball on screen with their name, and the balls just roll down the marble hill, and you pick a winner. And whoever's first is the winner. And I like to have a little bit of fun with it and like commentate the marbles and mock people that are losing and stuff like that, and like vote against people that are doing well, cause a little bit of controversy. It's really fun. But yeah, it's really good for making people break that barrier of because I imagine there's thousands of people on Twitch that just watch and have never typed in chat because they don't. It's socializing, right? Like they don't want to. But
it's never going to be seen either. Like they don't feel like it will be seen.
Exactly, but by making them break that barrier and actually telling them something in chat, you find that once they've done it once, they're like, "Oh, I'm still alive. Great, I spoke to someone and I'm still alive. I can do this." And they start to type, which is great. I always wanted to do marbles, to be fair, because I just really like the game anyway. I think it's a really cool concept.
I think your commentary on it's great. Like I've like I said beforehand, I did watch some VODs to like research. And I think you're really funny, like in your commentary. So yeah,
thanks. It was quite cool actually, because one of my friends after one of the streams was chatting to me after. I was like, "Oh, did you join in?" He was like, "I was watching for a bit, but I didn't play. It wasn't my sort of thing." I was like, "Okay, no problem." He's like, "I don't know how you make a marble rolling down a hill sound fucking interesting. It sounds like the dullest thing in the world, but like, how do you pretend to be invested in someone's marble?" I was like, "I don't pretend. I'm invested in someone's marble." Like, it's worse.
It is. That is the good thing though. Like you like your commentary is like really funny, and like you like you almost like like in animes when you hear like the music, that they've got a backstory and shit. That's you. Yeah. Like, you're like you're the backstory. You're like, oh, this marble's going. It's come from the like. There was one that like came from the back or something, and you were just like,
yeah. I always imagine like a horse race or something like that.
Yeah, that's
obviously they go absolutely crazy as well.
I think that's the best way to put it. It's like horse race commentator. That's
but it's just marbles instead. So yeah, so there's that. So that's what my stream currently is pretty much. I did get a bit of a following playing Rocket League. I'm absolutely terrible at it. Absolutely terrible.
I don't think anyone's good at Rocket League anymore.
Definitely not. It was good for a few reasons. I mentioned earlier about trying to get that one because you've already got a secret audience of friends and family. You just want one or two people to trickle in at a time to try and like merge them in. And Rocket League was great for that because what I had was one or two players joining the stream saying, "Oh, can I play?" Yeah, sure, because you're just one person. You can jump in the game and play with us. And that kept happening over and over again. So slowly but surely, one by one, people are joining the stream and joining the game and built up like that. And eventually we started doing marbles because we had enough people. So yeah, so Rocket League sort of helped a little bit. Now, obviously, what I want the stream to be is I want to sort of do a mix. So I'd like to do like marbles on a Monday, then a video game in the week, and then really I'd like to do some actual video game development also on like a weekend or something. So
I
I'm
was
trying
going
to
to
like,
ask you if you'd want to do like your
yeah, like that's what
field.
I'd love to do. Obviously, also it's great for the stream, but also I'll actually get back into making my own projects, which I currently
Yeah.
don't have the time to. So hopefully by merging the two times together, it would work. But yeah, I haven't sort of got there really. Everyone just sort of likes marbles, so it's just sort of every Monday it's marbles.
Yeah, no, I
There's a
get that.
ghost behind me.
Yeah, it is funny that because I genuinely thought for some reason that it was my wife walking behind me for a second. I could see somebody behind you, and I was like, "Oh, it's Jen behind me," and I looked, and she wasn't. It freaked
Wait,
me.
no, that's not my screen.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I could with that. I was going to ask you: is there any content that you think your channel was missing? And you've obviously said that you want to do like a video game, like I'm
Yeah,
guessing
I mean,
video game.
I've got loads of ideas, which is why I got into streaming originally. Whether they work or not, I don't know. I'm currently playing with this idea of making an official community, right? So the moment I've just sort of got a community slowly building up off the back of the stream. But I've already mentioned I don't want to be a community manager. That's not my job. Like that's a job, right? That is a
Yeah,
job. People, that's actually an actual job role that people get paid a lot of
a
money
lot
to
of
do.
organizations. Yeah.
Yeah, like and that's not what I want to do. So I'm playing with this idea at the moment of making a community called Let's Go, which is essentially off the back of a popular Twitch exclamation. I'll call it. Everyone just goes "Let's go" whenever
Yeah.
something good happens. So I was like, cool,
Let's
let's
go,
roll with that.
gamers!
Yeah, let's go, baby. So yeah, that's what I want to go for. And I want it to have a lot of different branches. So at the moment, I'm just doing Let's Go Gaming, which is basically me streaming games on Twitch. I also want to do like Let's Go Game Dev, which is basically a separate branch of just game development. I want to do Let's Go TTRPG, where maybe I'll stream some D&D, or someone else streams D&D, or someone streams another RPG. Yeah, and just sort of keep branching off into many different branches and trying to do that a little bit. That's the
Oh,
aim for the stream, but it's just time. Like it's
yeah.
so time consuming. I mean, I want to break into YouTube and sort of do that as well. And I was chatting to we're plugging Ben again. I was chatting to
Fuck.
Ben. Damn it! I was I was chatting to Ben. I was like, Ben, how like is content awesome? Like I
It does.
honestly,
It looks so fucking smooth and slick, and it
yeah,
really pisses me off because he's so
it's
good
so
at
good. And I asked him, I was like, do you spend a lot of time editing? He was like, yep, like hours. I was like I can't do that. I
He
can't.
showed me so when you export a video, obviously you'll know that the export timer, like the
Yeah.
bar thing, and it's like, oh yeah, I've done like 6 hours editing, and here's the timer for this 10-minute video that he's done. It's like in 3 hours. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking fuck, like so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's crazy, right?
yeah. I was going to ask you about
Okay.
whether you would stream like actual play of D&D because like
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to.
I
It
find
is a
it really
plan.
hard to get into, like not in terms of like I like to play hours and I like hours and I think a lot of people like hours from what I can tell because of the fact that they talk to Ben about it and we see a couple of people in the chat every now and then. But I find it really hard to get into other people's actual plays, like
Yeah.
because
So
they're just copying something
yeah.
or
So
just
I think there's a key to this, and it's not just D&D streaming in general. And this is also again an alpha gaming thing. Harris Heller tip that he gave, and that's that no one really comes to Twitch to watch you on Twitch at all. Really. Your community will be pulled from other places. People want to see, that's why you get an audience at the start with your friends and family because they know you from somewhere else. So
Mhm.
your friend that you know from the pub wants to see you in a different in a doing something different, so they come and see it. And I think it's the same for like D&D. So Critical Role's success, for example, is successful because they were all had their own communities and fan bases from different animes and things to be on. So who doesn't want to say, that voice actor from Full Metal Alchemist plays D&D. I'm going to go and check him out because I liked him in Full Metal Alchemist, so I want to see him in person, really. And I think that's kind of a secret to it. Realistically, people don't want to watch each other play D&D. It's not really watchable content in my opinion. I mean, other RPGs are, but I don't think D&D is. I think the players inside the game are very invested into your own players. It's like you said, it's hard to get invested into someone else's character.
Me and my
but you
wife were
can't.
talking about that anime
Yeah,
like fan base thing because we watched a conversation whilst we were eating dinner with Matt Mercer and Philip DeFranco. It was like two of our
Yeah.
favorite people in the same thing, and we were like, "Shit, like this is awesome!" And yeah, she turned around and said to me like, "So did you know Matt before you went into Critical Role?" I was like, "No, I didn't know Matt, but I knew Liam and I knew Travis because Liam is the voice of Gaara from Naruto, and I
Yeah.
was a massive fucking weeb, and obviously Travis is the voice from Full Metal Alchemist that you mentioned,
Yeah.
Roy Mustang. So I was like, those were both cool characters that I liked. So I found out who their English voice actors were, and
Yeah.
then when I heard that, I still can't really remember how I got into Critical Role because I was ill. But like, I don't know if it was art or if I heard that they were playing or something like that, and then watched. But yeah, I get what you mean about that pulling that community in. Like we watch Critical Role because we like them as a cast and their
Yes,
characters.
exactly. Yeah,
So
100%.
you,
You're not invested. It's not the characters you're initially invested in. You like the people, and I
and then the
think Twitch,
characters come
Twitch as a
second.
whole is like that. Even outside of D&D, you are, yeah, you're interested in the person from another point of view. You're just
Mm.
also coming to watch them play games.
It's one of
Like,
the reasons why this podcast wasn't an actual play podcast. We wanted it to be like a chat and an interview podcast because we found it difficult to like engage with that content ourselves. But
yeah,
I think Ben and the people he's got on his stream, like me, Jordan from Uninformed RPG, let's give Jordan a shout out, and like who was in it before, Sean and James. Those are people who are kind of fun and interesting. Like I think that if we'd got certain other people from our friendship group or something like that who were a bit more shy and like just wanted to play the game,
yeah,
like then it wouldn't be as cool as it is. Whereas we kind of fuck about with each other and like tell each other what we feel and stuff like that.
it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, I think that's actually huge. Like, I can't stress it enough about how important it is to actually to pull people in from other community, like from other places. Twitch itself isn't a like, you don't go browsing on Twitch. No,
no,
you just don't. You don't go browsing on Twitch. And
you
if you do,
like boom,
yeah,
straight there.
exactly. Yeah, 100%. It's like an extra. It's just an extra bit. The same way you wouldn't go browsing for people to follow on Instagram. Like, it's just weird. It's
Yeah,
strange.
you
Streaming's quite
find
a person. It's a personal thing.
the only thing I'll say about Instagram is like shit comes up, like people share other people's
Yeah,
stuff. It's
yeah.
almost
You're
like
like,
knowing somebody who they know and stuff like that. That one person removed sort of thing or something like that.
yeah, definitely, 100%. But yeah, I think it's important to have a backing before inviting people to meet someone somewhere else and then say, oh, by the way, if you want to see any more of me, I'll stream on Twitch. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I think D&D is the same. Like, if I met, I don't know, Dave at the office and he's just a pencil pusher and he goes, oh, by the way, Nath, I also play D&D. You want to watch me play D&D? I was like, yeah, cool. It's me playing games, right? So I don't know about you, but myself, I used to love watching my brother play video games, or or a friend or something like that. But
yeah.
I wouldn't go around some random guy and he went, "Do you want to come around and watch me play Mortal Kombat?" Well, no, I don't want to watch you play Mortal Kombat. Thank you very much.
I don't
That
know
doesn't
you.
interest me.
I have no
Yeah,
investment in you. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, I've got Mortal Kombat. I can play it myself. Thanks. Don't worry. But yeah, if it was, yeah, like you say, someone you even remotely know, you'd be like, yeah, cool. I'll see how you play Mortal Kombat. That'd be fun. Yeah.
yeah,
So I think people need an initial investment to become more invested. I think
yeah,
it's sort of, that's a nice bridge there between the Twitch stuff and D&D stuff that we've talked about today. And I think that
yeah,
is something important for both. People aren't invested in your character. They're invested in you.
yeah.
The character is just something interesting you're doing.
So
Unless
you
you're
got to make them
absolutely
stay,
amazing. Yeah,
like you,
definitely.
obviously.
Somehow.
So, so after this next section, we're gonna wrap up. I want to give you time to plug and talk about your community. But the first thing I have to ask you, Nathan, Nade, are you ready to face the deck of many questions? This
I
is my
don't think I
question.
am.
You don't think you are? Well, unfortunately, you are. Welcome to the Deck of Many Questions. This is our fan-submitted and collated list of questions that we random number generate, which I'm going to do in a different way today. I've decided with you, I feel as though we can get away with this. You've not seen this list of questions, but you're
Nope.
going to pick I'm going to give you a range of numbers, and you're going to pick a number, and I'm going to ask you that question. And then we'll see what you get. So, Nade, your range of numbers is 1 to 74. No, 75. Sorry.
Oh, damn, that's a larger list than I expected.
1 to
Okay.
75. A random question. Let's go.
17.
17. Let's find it. So 17. As a DM, how much time do you spend on D&D outside of games, i.e. for prep, writing, research, watching D&D shows, etc., etc.? This was submitted by a friend of the podcast, Paige, and if you would like to have your question put onto the Deck of Many Questions and you want to stack the deck in or out of our favour, please.
Okay, so I don't track the hours. I think that would be really creepy if I now said I spend exactly 3 hours, 42 seconds, and 5. Yeah.
No, we don't want it like that. But like a rough house guess.
So it's actually I've got an interesting answer I think here. So it depends on my relationship with like D&D at the time. If I'm a player, none. Like I don't need to learn anything. I just need to turn up with my character and play. That's all I need to do.
Yeah.
If I'm DMing or planning a DM campaign, so much time. So we mentioned earlier in the podcast that I'm at the very early stages of starting a new world, which is city based, and I've currently like just by time I looked at my other screen, I've got about 10 tabs open, and it's one is Between the Sheets with Laura Bailey, one is Critical Role, one is another YouTuber from called Level
Level 3.
Expedited Level 3. I've got a few of his tabs open. I've got a whole bunch of like Reddit posts open. I've got What If Gandalf Took the Ring? That's another one.
Video somewhere. I've got that video somewhere. Why have I got that? Whose video is that?
That is by Nerd of the Rings. It was really cool video actually. But yeah, like I think it's important as a DM to just engulf yourself in other people's stories and lore and stuff, and just not to like. I try to like not to actively like search. How do I write a D&D campaign? Because that's not good. Because I mean, it is good for certain things, but it's not good for a creative process. I think it's quite a linear thing. I just try and like engulf myself in as much content as I can until it sparks some inspiration for something.
Yeah, same with writing. This is magpieing is what I got. It got called.
Okay.
So you surround, you absorb as much as you can. So you read YA, you read romance, you read anything and everything, just because you need to see the different tropes and the different techniques and stuff like that, so that you can take them and take the ones that you like and throw away the ones that you hate.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm not even doing it purposefully. Like, I'm not watching all these videos because I'm trying to take ideas. It's the other way around. Because I'm planning on doing a campaign, I'm excited about it. Therefore, I'm like, oh, it's on my mind. I need to consume some fantasy to squash that idea. So yeah, so the answer is if I play out none, if I'm in a DM-ish role, then as much as possible, hours upon hours. Like it becomes my hobby for a short period of time, where that's more my spare time spent doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna propose something to you before we sign off. Would you like me to answer one of these questions? You can pick any number from 1 to 5, except for 17, because we've had that. Pick a number from 1 to 75, except for 17, and I will face that question as well.
Let's have number 1.
Number 1. I think I might have
answered.
Number
1.
But
if you've answered it, I want to do another one.
Oh no, I haven't read this one actually.
Okay, cool.
I think I changed the. So when I have added to this, I've tried to like mess up the numbers. So if there was already a number 1, I've moved that down to number 2, and then stuff like that to randomize it a bit more. So like they're not the same person's questions all in one section.
Oh,
so this one was actually submitted by my wife. Do you judge other DMs when you're their player? Now, okay, look, I'm not a bad person, but yes. With a short answer, yes. And I don't judge them in terms of like their whole skill. I judge them based on like individual things that or individual devices that they use, and basically I go, I like that, so give me sort of thing. Like so my friend Troy, for example, is a great DM because of the fact that his worlds are rich and vibrant and enjoyable, and like they tell a story just by existing. Like he doesn't need to do massive character driven plots, because a fucking dinosaur being rode by a lizard man just turns up and you're like, oh shit, we thought this island was uninhabited, but oh fuck. Like so his worlds are so detailed, and that's great. And like the situation from that world, then the fact that you believe that this was uninhabited, but now there are inhabitants, then tells another story, because now you've got to find out whether they're good or bad, or they're going to kill you in your sleep. So he's good at that, and that's what I judge him on. Like,
sorry to interject in your question, but you mentioned, so going back to something we mentioned earlier, are his worlds really detailed, or do you think he's just good at making it seem detailed?
I think it's a bit of both. I think there are things that he's prepared for into like intimate detail. Like he invented a lizard folk language.
Okay, you can't make that up on the spot.
Yeah, but then there were like little things as well. Like he remembered, I think, during that horses were not good during like the conquest of like the Portuguese took horses into like the Amazon and stuff like that. Yeah. And he remembered that all the horses died because they weren't used to the heat, and they contracted like diseases and stuff, and then people ate the horses and then they contracted diseases as well. And he just remembered that, and he was like, do you want horses? And then I think somebody got a horse, or we didn't get horses, and then he said that's a good idea because actually something to do with horses happened, and that's then cool. He had like this cool idea. So yeah, and then there's other people as well, like my friend Leon. Like I feel personally victimized by him, but I think he's great at creating threat. Like and like I said, I feel personally victimized from him because I feel like he's always threatening me, but like I genuinely feel like his games are deadly. Like whereas some D&D games, you're a bit like, I'm just going to blitz.
I think that's difficult to do actually.
Yeah,
I think that's difficult to do because most D&D players come from a gaming background, and we've all played RPGs where we can just swing our way through every combat situation and think we can do it in D&D. So actually creating a like threat where actually feels scary is hard to do. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the deck of many questions. If you would like to submit your questions, then message us on Twitter, Facebook. Well, not really Facebook. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Anchor, Spotify. They've all got comment features now. And let us know. Give us a question, and we will add it to the list. And you can stack the deck for or against us. And you can ask us strange questions, like if you had to shag your way out of the monster manual, what are you picking?
I heard. It's what I said I wasn't ready. This is the one I've heard.
Yeah. There's some nice ones in there. That one's probably the strangest, not gonna lie.
Okay.
Like, and then there's some other ones that are all right. But yeah, thank you very much, Nath. Like I usually just do an hour and a half, admittedly, but we've gone for almost 2 hours because I've just fucking enjoyed talking to you. I'm not gonna lie, it's been
great.
And so let's tell people where they can find you on the internet so they can talk to you and they can find out why I'm willing to spend 2 hours of my Thursday night talking to you.
So I guess the main place is just on Twitch. So it's twitch.tv/Sernade, and it's spelled like SER, like the Game of Thrones style thing.
Traditional way of saying it, yeah.
Yeah. Like not a lot of people know this. Like they don't pick up on it. Everyone goes, "Oh, you've spelled Sir wrong." I was like, "No, I'm going for like a fantasy theme. Come on, man."
Yeah.
I'm trying to show it. It also looks a little bit like Serenade, which would be great if I played a bard, but I don't.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Damn it.
Yeah. Damn it. I'm gonna start playing. I'm gonna start playing bard now. But yeah, so twitch.tv/SER_nade. Every Monday we play marbles. Just come and roll marbles down a hill, and it's more exciting than it sounds. I promise. Oh, I also give away Steam keys to winners. That's probably helps the success, I guess, as well.
What Steam keys do you give away? Like of marbles or
No. So it's something I didn't mention today actually is that because I've got a full-time job and I'm not trying to make money off of Twitch. Every sub and donation just goes straight back into the stream. So I've basically the first month of subs that I had, I just took all the money and spent it on Steam keys on Steam. So I got about like 90 random Steam games in an Excel sheet. That basically whenever someone wins like a marbles Grand Prix race, I just give them a Steam key.
That's sick.
It works, But yeah, it's that community feel, right? I'm not trying to be like I'm a streamer. This is my stream. Everyone come and watch me. I want it to be a community. Like this is our stream. I'm just hosting it. Any money you put in is going back towards everybody else. Like it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, that's good, and like that's definitely something that a lot of people do, isn't it? Like and enjoy is like seeing their people give back. So no, that's great. That's fucking awesome. And as usual, I've been your favourite friendly Furbolg, Addison, from the Pod of Many Things. You can catch us on Twitter at PodOManyThings because somebody stole the O. You can email us on the podofmanythings at outlook.com, and you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, or anywhere you can find a podcast. We're there, and we hope that you listen. And whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, I hope you're safe, hope you're well, and I hope you'll tune in again next time. Peace. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.